Title: New South Wales Auditor-General uncovers failings in environmental compliance. A performance report from the New South Wales Auditor-General has found that the state-owned Forestry Corporation and the government agency tasked with environmental compliance have multiple failings. Among the findings, some Environmental Protection Agency officers lack basic equipment required for forestry inspections, including specialized tapes and rangefinders. Field staff are also required to use electronic mapping without necessarily having access to a computer or tablet. The Auditor-General made recommendations to ensure staff are equipped with necessary tools and receive adequate training. Environmental campaigners have criticized the lack of resources, which they claim undermines effective regulation and protection of native forestry sites. Queenslanders asked for their views as state cracks down on dangerous dog owners. Queensland authorities want to get tough on owners of dangerous dogs with new laws that could see them jailed. The state could also become the first to completely ban some breeds. A task force has released a discussion paper that outlines proposals for new laws that would allow councils to fast-track the destruction of dangerous dogs and jail their owners. The proposals also include a sliding scale of penalties for owners or carers of dogs that attack people or other animals, from fines to jail time. Queensland is currently the only state in Australia that doesn't threaten prison terms for the owners of dangerous dogs. Title: Wagner Group mutiny ends in deal with Belarus, what's next for Putin's Russia? Russian President Vladimir Putin faced a potential coup on Saturday as Wagner Group mercenaries led by Yevgeny Prigozhin took control of military bases in southern Russia. The mutiny was sparked by allegations of a military attack on Wagner forces. However, the crisis was ended when Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko brokered a deal with Prigozhin, allowing his troops to return to their field camps in exchange for amnesty. It is unclear what the fallout of the mutiny will be for Putin and his government, but the Defense Ministry is seeking to bring autonomous volunteer forces, including Wagner, under its control by July 1. Freight train carrying hazardous materials plunges into Yellowstone River. A freight train carrying hot asphalt and molten sulfur derailed and plunged into the Yellowstone River in Montana after a bridge collapsed. Drinking water intakes were immediately shut down downstream due to the potential hazmat spill. Railroad crews were on the scene, and the cause of the collapse is still under investigation. The Yellowstone River saw record flooding in 2022, which caused extensive damage. A retired engineering professor said that repeated years of heavy river flows might have caused the structure to fail. Officials are encouraging residents to conserve water until the situation is under control. Title: Thirroul community rallies in support of Rainbow Storytime amid far-right protests. Residents of Thirroul in New South Wales showed their support for a Rainbow Storytime event held at a local library, despite protests from far-right groups. The event featured drag queen Miss Roxy, who read books to children and their parents. Organised as a welcome event outside the library, it was held in response to the cancellation of several Pride events across the country due to threats from conspiracy theorists and conservative groups targeting local councils. While protesters from neo-Nazi group Active 88 brandished Australian flags and held signs condemning the event, police reported no arrests or charges. Man appears in court over alleged kidnapping and domestic violence offences. Kurt Field, a 37-year-old man who has been charged with more than 20 offences, has been refused bail in Newcastle local court. He is accused of assaulting a woman, kidnapping her, holding her against her will, assaulting police, and ramming 2 police cars after a pursuit. Field's solicitor said he is self-medicating a complex mental health issue with cannabis and ice, and needs further legal advice to contest the charges. The prosecutor argued against bail, citing concerns for the safety of the community and concerns about him leaving the state. Field's case will return to Maitland Court on Monday. Title: Human remains found in California mountains where actor Julian Sands disappeared. Hikers exploring the Southern California mountain area where Julian Sands disappeared 5 months ago have found human remains. Sands, the British-born actor, was reported missing in January after setting out on a hike on the 10,000 feet high peak east of Los Angeles. The area was hit by severe storms and weather conditions were challenging at the time he went missing. Sands is best known for his role in the 1985 film A Room with a View. The authorities have transported the body to the coroner's office for further identification. Sands' family released their first statement on Friday since the disappearance. Hashtags. Title: Killer whales bump racing sloop in Spanish coast encounter. A pod of killer whales has bumped a boat competing in an endurance sailing race as it approached the Strait of Gibraltar, prompting concern over patterns of aggressive behavior. The 15-minute incident with at least 3 of the giant mammals forced the crew to drop sails and make noise to scare the approaching orcas off. No one was injured, but the team skipper called it a scary moment. Scientists have noted increasing reports of orcas, which average from 5 to 6 meters in length and weigh more than 3,600 kilograms, bumping or damaging boats off the western coast of the Iberian Peninsula in the past 4 years. PwC to sell government business for $1 and appoints new CEO. PwC Australia has announced that it will be selling its government business to private equity firm Allegro Funds for $1 as part of an extensive restructure following a massive tax leak scandal. The company will also be dividing into 2 parts, with Kevin Burrows, a global leader based in Singapore, taking the role of CEO in Sydney. PwC came under scrutiny when senior partners were found to have misused confidential federal government information to help multinationals avoid paying more tax. The move is aimed at protecting the jobs of roughly 1,750 government business employees. Millions of dollars in fines to punish online misinformation under new draft bill. The Australian government has proposed legislation that would penalise online platforms spreading misinformation and disinformation with fines up to $6.8 million or 5% of their global turnover. The Australian Communications and Media Authority (ACMA) would be empowered to request the industry to develop a code of practice covering measures to combat online misinformation, which if violated, could result in penalties up to $2.75 million or 2% of global turnover. The ACMA would also be armed with the ability to require digital platforms to keep certain records and turn them over when requested. Public consultations on the Communications Legislation Amendment Combating Misinformation and Disinformation Bill 2023 are currently ongoing until August 6. Canada investigating why the Titanic-bound submersible imploded. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is conducting an investigation into the loss of the Titan submersible and has been speaking with those who travelled on Titan's mothership, the Polar Prince. Maritime agencies are searching the area in the North Atlantic where the vessel was destroyed, killing all 5 people aboard. Debris was located about 3,810 meters underwater, almost 500 meters away from the Titanic wreckage it was on its way to explore. The investigation promises to be long and painstaking given the murky depths of the ocean. Emptied ATM found on Adelaide Hills roadside day after alleged ram raid. South Australian police have found an emptied ATM dumped on the side of a road in the Adelaide Hills, a day after it was allegedly stolen from a licensed premises during an early morning ram raid. CCTV footage showed a white Mazda ramming the front doors of the venue before 2 people stole the ATM. The car was later found burnt out and a small amount of money inside the stolen ATM was gone. Investigations are ongoing, and anyone with information has been asked to contact Crime Stoppers.